Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. Today is Wednesday, and today is also going to be later on the release date for Gorr the God Butcher. And I want to start doing a new video series that we'll see, how popular it gets, or if people like this or not. And let me know in the comments by the end of the video. We're gonna dub this called Should You Core, and this is gonna be for Gorr the God Butcher. We're gonna be doing a deep dive and free to play analysis, because now that we have double the amount of arena cores these days, yes, I know that some of them are going to be going towards things like events and things like that, but I think a lot of people might be wondering, is it worth early access on these characters by spending your power cores to try and get them, whether it's a full unlock or actually, just putting some cores towards them. I want to answer that question by the end of the video, and kind of, hopefully you guys can get my opinion on that. This is the second character in the Annihilator series here in the arena-based team, and we need to go over what he has to offer, and especially compared to the other characters on this team as well. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. So I do want to start things off with this video by diving into msf.gg and looking at the character stats table. Now, normally I have in the past done full team-wide videos on things like this when it comes to character stats across the board. But I'm doing an individual-based video now, and we'll see how things go, because I want to give people, proper information about the character and how valuable this character or future characters, are going to be in the meta and elsewhere. So first off, I do want to go about where Gorr kind of stacks up in the power chart. So we're going to start off by health, which I already categorized by. And Gorr actually is number 6 in health. Now, full disclaimer, I'm sure you guys are aware that, the characters from Ares onwards, and the reworks as well, with Ultimus and Silver Surfer, have had huge significant stat bumps, right? Like, so instead of having the typical team stat passives, now they're all kind of caked into the character, and they're all going to have, like, I guess you could say standalone, quite impressive stats, because they're not getting any more of that, like 50% to whatever. In some cases, I believe Gorr actually has something on his kit that improves his focus, but by and large. So Gorr is number 6 on health. And I guess it's funny because most of the newer characters are actually in this top 10, right? You can see Gladiator, Ares, Thanos Endgame, Ultimus, Silver Surfer, Gorr. All of those 6 characters are basically now in the top 10 for health, and some of the wider stats as well, which is pretty interesting. And other characters who round up the top 10, which would be Leader, or Apocalypse is 11 actually, Leader 10, Black Knight 9, Super Skrull 8, and then Mephisto is still up here as number 1 in health. So for damage, though, if we scroll by that, Gorr is number 2. And this is really impressive. Like, yes, I know that not everyone and most people are not going to have the PS, like the numbers don't really matter that much, because this is actually scaled to 7/7 with no diamonds. And I know that, a lot of people aren't going to have that, but it does tell you like what he's going to eventually get up to. And even at a lower star, like even anywhere of like 3 and 4 yellow, it's going to be quite impressive compared to older characters. So again, comparing to the other characters, like they all round out the top 10, actually even closer. So Ares, Gorr, Thanos, Gladiator, like they're all up there. Mephisto being number 5, Ultimus 6, Red Goblin 7, Guardian. I'm surprised Guardian's actually that high, frankly. Black Panther, Shuri, and Old Man Logan. In the armor stat, Gorr is further down. He's actually outside the top 10. I don't know how far oh, there he is, actually. He's number 21. So I'm surprised that Gorr is actually that low. That being said, he's not a damage-based character, right? So it's still fairly high, though, I think, for a character who's not designed to do that. He is a controller. That's his class. Most of these things don't mean anything, right? Because like you can have support characters that just blow people up like Apocalypse. So half the time the classes don't actually mean that much, other than what ISOs you need for them. So 21 for armor, quite impressive still. His focus stat is going to be 6, with a caveat once we look into his kit, because he does get additional focus for other annihilators. I'm pretty sure that's part of his kit. And then his resistance also not as good, but still pretty good at number 11 in the game. So some pretty impressive stats across the board. Again, that's because it's making up for those stat passes that you might get from the previous teams, like the characters that are older from Ares before this, where they would get anywhere from like 30 to 50% in a given stat. But what's good about this, though, is that it improves their viability standalone. They're sort of plug and play ability, and I'm very interested to see how character releases go moving forward in this plug and play nature because they're not reliant on the rest of their team to boost their stats. That means standalone they're good, and so a lot of this will then have to do with how good is their kit or what other functionality that the characters have in other game modes or in Dark Dimension or things like that. In terms of how much do you want these characters and where are they going to fit in. But I'm excited, not only just for Gorr, but like in the future as well for other characters and how that's going to line up. And the ability to maybe theory crafting might be coming back, right? Because those stats are no longer reliant on your team members. That you could, if there's a reason to take them out of the team and use them plug and play, like I'm actually doing with Alpha Flight a lot of the times. For example, like North Star as well. In Crucible, people are using Guardian and Sasquatch separately as well. Lots of exciting things there. Gorr, as far as his speed, is actually pretty fast as well. So he's 11th in the game with 129. And what's interesting about the characters that he is kind of either at the same speed of or is slightly higher. So he actually shares the same speed stat with Ghost Rider Robbie. And there's a couple of other characters where it might be useful that he actually outspeeds them. For example, Green Goblin GGC at a 128. Mephisto's at, well, I don't know, it's probably not going to matter that much. But if you kind of see, like, if you're going up against other characters, like that extra couple of speed points might actually matter. So he is fairly fast at the 11th fastest in the game. So let's talk about Gorr, right? He's obviously a bio, so that's important, right? If you're thinking about building up Gorr, then make sure that you have the bio gear around to level him up. If you're thinking of taking him into Dark Dimension 7, which a lot of people, I think, at this point, if you are not towards Cosmic and DD7, or that's where you are right now, and you're wanting to build characters, I think at this point that the Annihilators make the most sense as your Dark Dimension Cosmic picks because they're going to be the best characters in the game for that section. There's three plus, depending on how many of the Annihilators you want to build. Ultimus is in the Mythic section for DD7, so not as many, maybe 4 if you want to do Silver Surfer. But either way, these are your best characters for Cosmic coming up. And it's probably good timing because a lot of the Cosmic characters for Dark Dimension is old-ish and not very good. Like, they're kind of like a year plus old with the exception of Cosmic Ghost Rider. A lot of them are older characters that were kind of just carrying through. Void Knight's not quite a year, but regardless, a lot of the picks are, quite old. So it's good to see some fresh blood in Dark Dimension Cosmic. Now, his basic. It's pretty basic. However, what I really love about Gorr is that like everything clears charged. It's just an amazing mechanic there. And really, I think this plugin, he has a lot of, I think he's gonna have a lot of plug and play, honestly, against other characters that have charge that you need to get rid of, such as like Black Knight, you might want to get rid of, so that he's not doing the retaliation. Maybe Green Goblin Classic, for example, as well, so that he doesn't do his pings as well. And I think that there is, what's interesting, obviously, is that he also has the symbiote tag. Now, how much value that has, I'm not sure. We might end up seeing some theory crafted combinations with some hive mind. That could be possible with Carnage as well, with kind of like maximizing that turn bar and giving more turn bar to Gorr. That could be kind of scary. So we'll have to see what kind of things happen when people start buying Gorr or more people unlock him. His Tendril Terror, which is a special on a cooldown of 3, very low as well. Does primary target and adjacent targets, but it does ability block for 2 turns on the primary. And this clears charged and revived once. So this is mainly a counter to Old Man Logan in the arena, but like in other places in PvP, I can see this having significant value. Anyone running Dormammu, for example, on defense in Cosmic Crucible, this is going to wreak havoc on any of these revive once characters or any future rooms that might have these sorts of mechanics that might be necessary. He also clears stun and ability block from Annihilators and Symbiote allies. That's interesting as well. So cleansing for Symbiote and allies if necessary. That's kind of cool. And it cannot be dodged or blocked, but it's not unavoidable. Now his ultimate Berserker Blitz. If any enemy is charged, fill his speed bar by 20% and then attack all enemies for 320% piercing. I love that it's piercing damage because that's really good, especially against hard defense characters like Black Knight. I'm just, that's the one that keeps coming to mind when it comes to charges. And then clear all charges, defense up, evade, and revive once. Now, if you've got Safeguard, I don't think you're going to be able to do that. However, nonetheless, it's still a lot of clearing there. And then he's applying Safeguard to himself and all Annihilator allies. So if you're just using him standalone, then he's still at least applying it to himself for 2 turns, which is still great. And it clears all battlefield effects on the enemy side. I think that's going to be more useful going forward because realistically, I think right now that only covers Novas. The only friendly battlefield effect that would be on the enemy side, I think that would be Novas, right? I think what we're gonna see, and we'll see if this ends up countering, but Odin has a Bifrost battlefield effect, which I'm pretty sure is going to be a friendly battlefield effect. And so I wonder if you're going up against Odin, Gorr the God Butcher, right? I think there may be some counter to Odin, at least on like a 1v1 kind of basis, or if you're going maybe in PvP, like in Alliance War or in Cosmic Crucible. So that'll be interesting to see as well. And then his passive, of course, he gains charge. And his whole thing is that the more people he kills, the more charges he gets. And it could be on any death, including minions or summons or whatever thing like that. And then any characters killed by Gorr cannot be revived. So some really great mechanics there as well to get rid of, even if you don't clear the characters who revive. I guess like that would also count Phoenix. I don't know why I said that. Dark Dimension. I think there might be some value there. But otherwise, you're clearing revive once, and they also can't be revived through other means, I suppose. Part of this makes me think that the Gorr is going to be an enemy we're going to start seeing a lot of Gorr enemies, and that's going to be a pain in the ass, right? If anyone dies from Gorr. But anyways, the more kills the Gorr gets, he gets more charges, and then he eventually unleashes his special attack again for free, basically. So the more kills, that's why I think that longer term in places like Dark Dimension, I think where he's maybe ramping this charge up mechanic, this charge mechanic up and being able to apply that special multiple at times is going to be really, really cool. He does clear all his charges, though, when he does that, and he gets 250% whopping focus per Annihilator ally, but his stats aren't that bad. Like, if we go back to the stats table, like, his focus is pretty decent anyways. Like, he was number 5 in focus, even without the stuff. I think it's just that in the arena context, like, you're going to get 1,000% focus, or maybe 750, if you're using 3 other allies, if you're using Ultimus maybe, or even 500 if you're just using the 2 others, Thanos and a Gladiator, but that's going to help him be able to clear characters like Black Knight and other ones as well. Old Man Logan, that's probably not that hard to do, but definitely Black Knight from clearing the charges and things like that. And then while this character has charges, this character cannot gain bleed. Another kind of FU to Old Man Logan, I think, there, because he does gain charged on spawn. And then in arena, it also lowers the assist chance for all enemies by 100%. So no more Old Man Logan assists at all. So that is going to be pretty crazy too. So the second part of the video is basically talking about, is he someone that you should be spending your power cores for? Is he better than Gladiator? And the reason why I say that is because as of right now, I'm pretty sure, and I'm filming this at night, and I don't know how long Gladiator's core orb is going to be left. However, it is still in there, or was in there. Is it gone now? No, it's still there. Sorry. Shiar's finest orb. So Gladiator's orb is still there. We have an event going on right now, Diamond Claws, that does reward you spending your power core. So the question is, would a Gorr orb be better than spending your power cores on Gladiator, and who is better? So in a vacuum, I think that the Annihilators, every single character, is going to be very valuable in their own right. They're going to be very good in Dark Dimension, Cosmic, like in all forms of that. You're going to want to use that. And they're going to be highly meta in other places, because not only are their stats so huge, but the kits are also very good, in my opinion. And obviously together, they're going to be better in arena, but I do see a lot of plug and play value for Gorr in other game modes, including Cosmic Crucible and Alliance War. I'm not big on Alliance War, but I'll say for sure that I'm sure that there is places that you'll be using him in Cosmic Crucible, especially if you do see Old Man Logan on defense. And so if you save Gorr for the offense, I think that's going to be a very powerful tool. But if I had to choose between Gladiator and Gorr, I probably would go for Gladiator first. That being said, if you've gotten lucky and you already have him, I think it is worth using your cores right now, especially for Diamond Claws as well. So you can double dip, right? If you're someone who has more power cores and you want to unlock Gorr, I think that would be a good time to do so. If you're also here watching this video and you're thinking about buying Gorr, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money, but I think that the Annihilators are going to be a better first buy, in my opinion, because they're also an arena team, and I rank arena teams very highly than something like the upcoming Orcus team. Even though we're going to need them for raids, I normally would say that, performing better in arena is a better priority, oddly, because then you'll use those cores and other things to be able to help you, do more things, whether it's events or unlock more characters. So basically, I'm saying that if you have Gladiator and you have extra cores, then go for Gorr. But otherwise, if you're wondering, should I pull for Gladiator or should I pull for Gore? I think that at this point I would probably say Gladiator, but that does not mean that Gore is good. It's that it's just a really hard toss up right now because all three of the characters are going to be very powerful in their own right and very good and worth having. Just that I think right now, according to what and this is my alt account, but like I'm 22. It's my alt account, my alt arena for some reason is like super more competitive than my main account at this point. But Gladiator is showing to be quite a big problem already, just standalone. And Gore will somewhat neuter Old Man Logan, but I think that Old Man Logan you could still beat right now with Apocalypse. So it's not as big of a deal if you have Apocalypse, right? If you don't have Apocalypse, then yeah, having Gore is probably going to make a pretty significant deal. But you probably want Gladiator as well. I think it's kind of like a 1, 2, 3 stepping stone. That's just my thoughts, though. It's like Gladiators first, Gore second, and that might be the order in which you want to get them as well. If you're thinking about blowing your power core. So that's just my thoughts anyways. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below. Let me know if you appreciated this video or not. Let me know if this is something that you'd like to see for each of the characters. I kind of wanted to do it and release the video on the day that their offers come out so that you guys can have the kind of knowledge or tools to decide what you want to do for that character and whether or not you want to spend your power cores on those characters, which is why we call this series Should You Core. So that's going to be the end of this video. And until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.